Hello, welcome to the Roundhouse podcast with Paul Solentrop of Wichita State University Strategic Communications. Thanks for listening. Today's guest is Ronnie DeGray III. Ronnie is a senior forward on the Wichita State basketball team. He averaged 5.8 points and 3.5 rebounds in 24 games last season, highlighted by 15 points, 8 rebounds in a conference tournament win over Rice, and then he followed that up with 8 points, 6 rebounds, and 2 assists against Memphis, also in the AAC tournament. Ronnie is from Parker, Colorado, and he is entering his second season with the Shockers. So, Ronnie, you have what I would think would be one of the most appealing numbers on the team. You are wearing number 3. Tell us the backstory with why you were wearing number 3.
When I got here, a lot of numbers were taken or they're going to be retired soon. So, I didn't want to take 23 for Fred, and I don't know who 13 is going to be retired too, but that was taken, and I've heard 3 in the past has been really big numbers to Wichita State fans, and I want to continue being someone who's remembered in that number.
Okay, yeah, that's got to be with the 3-point shot. I would think that's a great number to have. Have teammates offered to trade, buy it from you, take it from you?
I definitely this year gotten asked to switch to number 3, but I kind of just stuck with it this year.
You stuck with it. You wore number 13 and number 21 in the past. Was there any stories with those numbers?
13, they've always said that's a unlucky number, but I've always thought it was a lucky number for me. And 21, that was just my first year at Missouri, and most of the numbers were already taken that I wanted.
Favorite NBA player, who do you like to watch?
I am a big LeBron James guy.
Okay, tell us more about that. What do you like about LeBron's game?
Just a guy that plays the game of basketball at a really high level, but he plays the game right. I think sometimes you get criticized for, maybe not taking the shot to win the game, but he makes the wide open play all the time. And just a really good all-around player that, maybe you can say he's maybe not the most skilled basketball player, but he knows how to score and how to use his body. So I think, and just how he leads himself on and off the court is really admirable to me.
There seems to be a shift. As I've done these interviews over the last year, basketball players are preferring LeBron over Michael Jordan. Am I interpreting that correctly? Where do you fall in that eternal argument? But who's the GOAT?
See, if I say people are going to put the rings conversation, then you would put Bill Russell. But we don't go off of rings, so you don't say Bill Russell's the GOAT. So I feel like the rings conversations are a little irrelevant. Not knocking Michael's 6 rings, like that's not a lot of people have done that, so I think that's really great. But I think the game of basketball is a lot different, and yes, Michael played with really good competition, but I feel like there's certain type of players and things that in Michael Jordan's era would be wizards. Like LeBron's era would be wizards in Michael Jordan's era, like a Stephen Curry or a Kevin Durant who's 7 foot who can put the ball on the ground and shoot it. I just feel like Michael Jordan never seen players like that, and LeBron, like he's played against them in the finals, and it's just I feel like it's just hard to compare. I could say that if you wanted to go, we could say LeBron is the GOAT in his era, and Michael Jordan is the GOAT in his era, but I feel like we're getting away from the greatness of who both those men are.
Okay, you've put a lot of thought into this. That seems to be a theme. I think some of your teammates said the same thing. They think competition level is greater now, which leans them toward LeBron.
Yeah, but the game is different with physicality and spacing, so it's harder to compare almost.
Sure. Bill Russell, all right. Good name from the past. Yes, he won a lot. All right, we should stop and go back to make sure fans are clear on the numbers. 13 is indeed retired here for Cleo Littleton, the program's all-time scoring leader, career scoring leader, and 23. Of course, I think we can probably fairly anticipate it will be retired at some point from Fred VanVleet. So yeah, you chose two really good numbers in Shocker history, but then you landed on 3, which is also a really good number. Favorite sport besides basketball? Did you play something else? Was there a point in your life where there was a fork in the road and another sport was in the picture?
Football was my main sport. I had offers from University of Colorado and Wyoming to go play football, and I didn't love the game of football. I loved playing football games, but I couldn't stand practice, and especially in Colorado when it got cold, I just didn't want to get hit no more because it just hurt a lot. But football was my real love for a long time, but sophomore year after playing varsity football, me and my dad had conversations like, do you want to play college football or do you want to play college basketball? And I told him I want to play college basketball, so I really shifted my focus more into basketball and just stopped playing football after my sophomore year. Especially guys my size, I got to add another 40 pounds to my weight as being 6'7", 6'6". So I wasn't really too dedicated to getting that much weight and really just eating weights all day. So I just decided basketball is the route for me.
Were the football coaches disappointed?
Yeah, I've always got calls about coming back to play, especially in high school. With my high school coaches, they were really upset with me not playing, but I just didn't love it like that.
What position did you play?
Tight end and defensive end.
That was going to be my guess. With your size, yeah, that's what I would have expected. Okay, let's talk about last season with the Shockers. What was your favorite memory from the Shockers? Finished up pretty strong on a good note. What stands out from last season?
Oh, that's a good question. I would say at the end of the season, we really started to click as a team. It took us a while with, me and Bijan getting implemented into the middle of the season. And, guys were accustomed to what they've been doing for the first 13 or games or so. But I think, down the road, we really started to click with each other. And, it took longer than expected, but I think, we started really just enjoying being around each other and playing for each other, and it wasn't just hero ball. But, I think, the tournament, of course, we started just, seeing like, man, we can really play with these guys. Like, we have what it needs. We just, got to keep the game simple and just, do what we can and do what we can control ourselves. So I think that was a big, high for us. Maybe for me would probably be just getting back into the flow. Our first game, Southern Illinois. Me coming off of almost maybe 11 months not playing basketball, so just becoming healthy again and being able to contribute. It was really good for me to just be back.
To remind fans, Ronnie and Bijan Cortez, who you mentioned, were kind of winding their way through the NCAA eligibility morass, and both of you started playing kind of mid-December, if I'm remembering right,
yes.
Mid to late December.
Yes, sir.
Were able to get on the court. I thought maybe you would have picked the 2 plays against SMU that you were on the receiving end of passes from, was that Kenny Poto at the top of the key?
Yes,
kind of ran the same play, popped both times, and kind of put that game away. That was a good memory from last season. You mentioned your dad, Ronnie DeGray II. He was honorable mention All Big 12 pick, 1998 at the University of Colorado. He played professionally in Europe. Tell us about your dad and how he influenced your basketball.
So my dad played Colorado. I was born in 2000, so he was playing overseas in Finland. So I was born in Colorado, and then soon right after was on a flight to Finland to go see my dad. So I really just grew up around the sport of basketball, going to his games at a young age, and just seeing like how the fan atmosphere and overseas basketball is, and just him, showing me basketball at a young age. I kind of just always enjoyed playing it. So I was pretty much, I would say I was born into basketball. So with him, showing me the blueprints to everything, with, being a forward, he's played at a high level and got to it. So he's taught me, shooting, dribbling, just playing the game the right way. And even with my dad, my sisters played, basketball at University of Arkansas Little Rock, and my oldest sister was Conference Player of the Year in the Sun Belt, I believe they were, and I don't know if it's still the same. But he just really showed us how to play the game the right way, and it just it's stuck with me. And even after games nowadays, he talks to me what I could have done better, or what I should do next time. It's constructive criticism, being a dad, but I'm used to it, so it's nothing bad.
Can you beat Dad in a game of horse?
Yes, but he won't play me in basketball anymore.
Okay, he's aged out of that. What's Ronnie DeGray II, his best piece of basketball advice? What really sticks in your brain that he's told you about the game?
I would say maybe it's not advice. I think it's what he tells me all the time. He's always like, you have the intangibles to play at a high level after your college career, but you just got to keep on being confident in yourself. So I think that's the one that sticks up to me, because basketball seasons is a emotional roller coaster. There's ups and downs. So just remembering that you can do it is I think really big for me.
So you really started to play well. You had a good string of games starting in late January, finished strong in March, as we talked about. What made you really kind of click in those last few weeks of the season?
Just talking with Coach Mills. He just really enlisted. Like I said, I'm a big confidence guy. Like I want coaches to believe in what I can do. And he just, him and Coach AC just, being confident about, when you're open, shoot it, don't hesitate about it. Play smartly, just play how you do. And that confidence of just going out there and like be a controlled, aggressive. I think it really just started to click in my head. And just, like I said, being confident in myself, I think that's really, started to push me over the edge from, January to end of March.
So we hear a lot about the coaches at Wichita State, and they're good at relationships, picking up players. When you have a conversation about confidence, did they initiate it? Did you go to them? How does that kind of play out?
I would say at my last year at Mizzou, just through my injury and just the whole situation, I would say my confidence was a little down. I was scared to mess up, and like this basketball, you can't always be perfect, so you gotta move on to the next play. And just they I talked to them about, but they just really embraced, like how different players are different ways. They coach differently, and just they just they're going to be hard on me, of course, but they're going to still tell me that they believe in me and what I can do. So I think the coaches really just came from who they are, and just about enlisting that into me, but they enlisted to other players also.
People really seem to enjoy being coached by Quincy AC, the assistant coach that you mentioned. Tell us about working with him. What's his advice? How is he an effective coach?
Love Coach AC. We've really bonded over these past couple months and got a lot closer. But just he's played at the NBA at the highest level, so he has knowledge of how to make it and everything, especially him being an undersized big man, super athletic, what got him to over top of, his motor and how hard he plays, but, just how much the work takes, and he's seen, from playing with a bunch of pros, to seeing what it takes and, what the commitment level is, and just, all the knowledge from playing, what we see and what he sees. So it's just, a constant communication between both of us. But, he's a guy that, keeps it really honest with you, and he's not going to, sugarcoat things. He's going to tell you how he sees it. But I think that's what makes him great, is because we can almost see him like he's a player to us. Maybe he's not playing with us, but he's, been there and he sees what we see. So I think that's what makes it connection between me and, a lot of us more relevant to us.
And he's not too far removed from a playing career, and he's out there. He's pretty active in drills. So
yes,
you are
sir.
going up against Quincy Acey in practice pretty regularly. I would imagine that's a nice benefit. So as we've gotten to know Paul Mills over the last year, we've learned about his love of numbers. He hits you guys with a lot of statistics, those kind of things. Is there one that's been helpful to you, that's kind of helped explain, here's how I can help this team, here's my role? Is there something that stood out?
With his numbers?
Yeah, the numbers, the statistics that I know you'll meet before practices, those kind of things.
I don't know. Like, he talks about numbers like shooting wise, and like what you would shoot like per possession, stuff like that. But and like obviously like how you guard the ball and stuff like that. But I mean, he might tell you like, I don't know, what you shoot or something like that, and tells you like maybe like think about it, like what's a good shot. I think that's what I'd say. Like shots off the dribble might not be as good as a catch and shoot, and just kind of telling us, like, not telling us because sometimes the game requires something else, but telling us sometimes what a great shot is to compare to what a good shot is. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's just the benefit of factors and stuff like that. So I think maybe just a little thought of that. This is an okay shot, but I think maybe down in the shot clock we can get a better shot. So I think that's probably the best advice, with the numbers, how he is.
Sure. So you had a summer full of individual workouts, team practices. Hit us with a teammate or two who really caught your eye over the summer. Who should fans be looking out for when they show up for Shocker Madness and games?
Definitely Corey Washington. I've mentioned it before. Just guy plays super hard, really athletic, but just motor keeps on running. So me and him battle every day.
And Corey is about a 6'6" forward. He's a transfer from St. Peter's, right? Remember that right?
Yes,
okay.
And I would also say Zion Pimpkin, freshman, point guard, really scrappy. Picks you up 94 feet. Pushes the ball in transition, can score really well, can pass, does a lot of everything, but, just a really guy that gets down and gritty and just really likes to play hard.
Zion is a freshman from Houston, and we've heard a lot about him this summer, no doubt. Okay, so there are 8 returners, including yourself. How does that kind of cohesiveness, having some familiarity, how did that help over the summer in practices, and how do you think that will help as the season gets rolling?
It's been good. Just guys who've been through coaches' program, and what his culture is, and continue to push it to other guys has been good. But just being leaders for the new guys, and telling them how things are going to be and how we can be better from learning new defenses, offenses, and just coaching them up, and telling them that the days are going to be hard, but when game time, it's easier than it comes easier, and just especially like talking to freshmen like Zion and TJ, just show them that this is college, but if you manage it right, it's okay. Like it's not too bad. But just I'd say for me would also be stepping up in a more of a leader role of talking to the new guys just about how everything is and how we can improve and what I may see compared to what they see. Because sometimes the game can be a little bit faster. So just really just being there for the guys.
TJ Williams, a freshman from Wichita Heights that you mentioned. What was the first piece of advice or the most important piece of advice that you've tried to pass on?
I've told TJ to slow down. Sometimes he's trying to go 100 miles per hour, which isn't a bad thing, but sometimes the game isn't 100 miles per hour at the moment, so you kind of just got to slow down and see, look what you see first before you just go. And just, Coach Mills is a big, he hates passes off of 1 foot. So he thinks those are always turnovers. So just telling TJ try to play off 2. It's hard because, high school you can get away with it a little bit more than college. But just tell him, Coach, especially if you turn the ball over on 1 foot, he's going to make you run. So just telling TJ to, look out for himself and try to not run as much as, we might have. So just being there for him and teaching him just things I see.
Playing off 2 feet, we heard that a lot last year from Paul Mills. Definitely. Your advice to let's say it's a high school sophomore and they're pretty good at basketball, they're starting to get recruited, they're starting to evaluate, what do I want to do, where do I want to go? What's your advice getting started in this whole process?
I would say with talking to coaches, it can become repetitive and stuff like that. But I would say to them, talk to the coaches who see you more than just a basketball player. Of course, they're recruiting for basketball, but they see you as more than just what you can do for them, but how can they help you? You know what I'm saying? But also enjoy the process. It's a fun thing, but even when you get there, don't stop working. It's just the start of your beginning, and there's going to be ups and downs to your career. But as long as you keep on pushing through, basketball always rewards you.
Now, you're a sport management major. I'm told you had the best GPA on the team. What are your plans once you're done with basketball?
I want to get into like the front office of the NBA franchise. I don't know if like that could be coaching, but I don't know if I really want to coach. I was always thinking about maybe an assistant GM. Work my way up that way. My coach and even the coaches in the for Wichita State always tell me that I'd be a phenomenal coach one day, but I don't know. Right now I don't see myself being the coach. I see myself as an assistant GM, but things always change. So, but that's where my path is after basketball.
Good goals. Favorite movie? What should people get out there and watch or rent or stream?
Ooh, I'm a big The Dark Knight. That was 2008. With Christian Bale and Heath Ledger. I love that movie. So I'm a big Batman guy. That's my favorite movie.
Favorite movie. Do you have a favorite basketball movie?
I'd say Love and Basketball.
Love and Basketball. Okay, The Dark Knight and Love and Basketball. All right. Ronnie DeGray III, senior forward on the Wichita State basketball team. Ronnie, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Rick Muma, president of Wichita State University. Check out the latest episode of the Forward Together podcast. Each episode, I sit down with different guests from Shocker Nation to celebrate the vision and mission of Wichita State University. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Thank you for listening to the Roundhouse podcast, courtesy of Wichita State University Strategic Communications. We encourage you to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. You can find more Roundhouse content at GoShockers.com.
Bradshaw into Wingate. Wingate's going to dribble it a couple of times and throws it in the hands of Kuznard. Drew it away. Kuznard to Ryan Martin for the dunk! The Shockers are going to the Sweet 16! It's all over. The Shockers up 7. 3 seconds. 2. Jumper by Smith is no good. Wichita State to the Sweet 16.